Hey guys, so we're actually back at the airport. We are taking a trip to Oregon this time, and this time it's for all business. We're going out there to find some new grass seed cultivars, and we're going to the same farm where Hatrick and Fireball was born. So it's called the McCarthy Farm. These guys really know their stuff, and they produce some very high-end dark grass seeds. So we're heading out there. I'm gonna show you guys the trip. This should be a fun episode, so we'll see you soon. So I got in super late last night. Of course, the flight was delayed like 2 hours. So I got my rental car, got to the hotel and fell asleep right away. Now I'm waiting for Troy to get here, pick me up, and we're gonna head to the research farm to pick out some cultivars.
Hi, I'm Troy with Bailey Seed and Grain, and I picked up Jesse at the hotel here this morning, and we're heading up to McCarthy Research Farm. And Jesse and I, we met because he looked up the Inteps, and he found Fireball and Hatrick were #1 for overall color. And that's what's created this whole relationship between me and Jesse, which was a year and a half ago, probably, right?
Yeah.
So that's how this got established, and now he's been out here for the second time so that he can be involved in selecting the next generation of Fireball 2. He's been talking a lot about Fireball and Hatrick on his video. We have Fireball 2 in the works currently, and we're going to be having Fireball 3, or maybe it won't be the Fireball name, but it'll be the next generation of the darker green perennial ryegrasses that we're going to be bringing forth. So Jesse, in my opinion, is going above and beyond the need for the channel that he's doing so that he's involved in selecting the best material for his customers and his followers.
So we made it out to the research farm, and Mike brought us out to the fields. He actually didn't want to talk on camera because he didn't want to show favoritism to certain vendors, which I totally understand. But basically he was telling us what to look for in the plots when it came to color, density, leaf texture, things like that. And then he gave us flags to mark, which Troy's going to explain right now.
So yeah, so we'll, you put a flag in this one. Mike will watch it throughout the summer. We'll come back out, I'll come out again, and we'll take a look at it in July or early August when it's at hopefully its worst heat stress period. And we'll say, yep, that's a good one. And then come September, October, Mike will come out here and dig a 1-inch by 1-inch square out of there. So then he'll dig that plug, and then they sprig them, plant them in the trays, and then sometime December, January, they go plant them out in the field. Literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them. And then we go through those parent plants. And by the time we get down to where we have a variety that we're selecting to make seed from, out of 10,000 selections, let's say, sprigs, we might end up with 15 or 20 parent plants that we carry forward. So the failure rate is out of control, but that's how you end up with this. Like this one here you were just standing on. Excellent color. Again, hasn't seen any water for 3 weeks. Still, the color holds real. Hasn't been fertilized, he said, since last August or September, right? So no fertilizer in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, 10 months.
That's stupid color for no fertilizer.
No fertilizer. And that's one of the reasons why we like to work with McCarthy's perennials and tall fescues is their natural color. Even when we harvest our fields, the color hangs on clear up until we're swathing them. And you go look at some of our competition, and they're starting to senesce and turn brown a month before they swath them. They just don't hold their color as well. Well, if you're overseeding a golf course down in Arizona, Southern California, the plant's only going to live about 6 months out of the year anyway, so you don't need that stay power. But when you're looking at a homeowner's lawn or an athletic field where you're just overseeding, but you need those characteristics to carry forward, McCarthy has it. In my opinion, McCarthy is the best place to make selections for tall fescues and perennial ryegrasses for those reasons.
I am in grass heaven right now. I don't think there's anything I'd rather be doing than picking out cultivars of grass for you guys to put in your lawns, man, just because I'm looking at it up close, personal, with my own eyes. I'm not just talking to a company saying, hey, what's your best seed? Put it in a bag, send it to me. I'm flying out to Oregon and handpicking this stuff so I know what you guys are getting, what I'm putting in my own lawn. I mean, I'm just seeing it up close and personal is a whole different experience than saying, hey, send me your best seed, let me put my name on it, you know what I mean? So I'm putting in the legwork to make sure this is the highest quality, darkest seed I can find with my own eyes. So we put flags in like 9 varieties of perennial ryegrass. I'll show you guys what those look like. But now we're moving over to the tall fescue plots. Going from rye to tall fescue it's interesting. The blade width is a lot thicker. Just walking on it, it sounds crunchier. So you gotta adjust your eye a little bit going from that ryegrass to this, because it just looks so much different. Thousands and thousands of plots. We've probably put out 20 flags or so. It's hard, man. You just look down the line, it's hard to tell the difference between some of these. So you gotta be really picky about what you're looking at. Definitely hard picking and choosing. It's easier with the rye, I feel like. The tall fescue is much harder because they're all so similar. But for tall fescues, McCarthy's known for the darkest tall fescue, so this stuff is stupid dark compared to regular tall fescue, if that makes any sense. All right, I mean, look at this color. I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell on camera, but man, that color and leaf texture is great in this area right here. It gets a little wider blade out here, but in this area where it's nice and dense, that leaf blade width and the color is amazing. So this is my favorite tall fescue right here. This color is crazy dark compared to the rest. Look at that thing. Just look how dark that one is right there. Man, I hope you can see this on camera, but that is stupid dark. Wow. Yeah, this is the guy right here. Holy buckets. Two flags in that. So the crappy part about this is, let's say we pick out a variety today, right now, this is the variety we wanted. It would take around 3 years to actually put this stuff in production and be able to sell it. So there is a little bit of a waiting period, but this is the long game, man. You gotta do it. If you wanna do it right, this is the way you have to do it. I mean, sure, I could go out there and ask around or watch the end taps and see what the darkest varieties are, but I'd much rather wait 3 years and hand select exactly what I want, because quality matters to me. And I think grass seed cultivars are the most important thing for your lawn. So there's not a better way than to actually come out here and do this yourself. Man, 3 years does seem like a long time though, doesn't it? It'll be worth it. Time will fly. Troy has Fireball 2 coming out next year, it sounds like. So we'll have something to hold us over in the meantime for perennial ryegrass. But yeah, this is a crazy experience. It's awesome. All right, I just want to show you guys some of the plots that I flagged. Like, look at that. That's stupid dark. And it has good density on top of it. Just crazy. So I'm going back over here to the rye just to see what we marked, see if I didn't change my mind. But yeah, never mind the triv next to this one. But same thing, man, crazy dark and just looks awesome. So what's happening right now is there are certain plants that are being selected to keep, and there are other ones that they aren't keeping, so they're mowing them down right now. So it's funny, people complain about seed heads all the time in their lawn, but they're a necessary evil for the growers actually, because without seeds, how are you gonna create more grass plants? How are you gonna sell grass seed if you don't have the plants seeding? So they're actually looking for plants that have good seed growth on them, which unfortunately means for the homeowner, we have to deal with more seed stocks. Now they don't go overly crazy, like if a plant seeds too much, they don't really go with it. They're looking for a happy medium to keep the homeowner happy and to have enough yield in their fields when they're done with the seeding.
The reason for mowing is that we want to make sure we destroy all the heads so there's no cross-pollinations from the unwanted with the wanted. And what we're looking at here, more so than anything, is early on we would have been looking at color, leaf texture, but now we're looking at the size of the crown and how much seed we think we're going to get per acre. So this particular crown will be harvested by hand. The seed heads will be turned upside down, stuffed inside a paper bag, so that we capture every seed on this plant, so that we can create the next variety. And every one of these plants will make the next variety. So there's about, on average, there's about 10,000 individual plants in this nursery. And I think that last one we drove by, I counted 23 survivors. So your fail ratio is extremely high. And the whole idea there is we're trying to produce the best quality, darkest green, thinnest leaves, most disease resistant, turf type tall fescues we can get our hands on. See, if I was making the selection for this particular plot, that one would go away. Okay. Because it's senescing fairly good. But see how this one's retaining its color a little better? See? This would be the one I would select.
He's talking right down here at the bottom. You can see this is all dark green still.
Yep.
And then over here, it's turning brown and wilting.
And that could be that plant's just a little earlier than this plant, right? But when I'm out here looking at them, I want the color to carry as close to when we swath it for harvest as possible. And so I would probably eliminate that one.
Yeah, no, this one looks great.
It does, yeah. And even at full growth, those leaves got good texture. They're small, relatively small. You know, you put that down in a turf plot and mow it, you're getting the smallest of the small leaves. So that one would make a good variety.
Yeah, and even this leaf color here compared to over there is crazy dark green.
And the camera doesn't do it justice.
No, it doesn't.
It's unfortunate, but it's just, it'd be really cool if this was something you could get 10,000 people out here to walk through and see the amount of man hours and how much effort it's put into breeding a variety.
Right, like when Mike said they come out and hand plant these one by one, every one of these rows, literally someone by hand planted in the ground.
Yep.
And there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions out here.
It's acres, acres and acres and acres and acres. It's the kind of work that it takes a special person to do and a special eye. Not everybody can do this.
I was talking to Mike off camera and I was asking, does it take an art to actually see what you're looking at in these space plots compared to what I was doing flagging in the actual grass 1x1 squares out there? And he said, for sure, it takes a special eye, because I wouldn't know what the hell I'm looking for out here, but well, after doing it for this long.
Absolutely. So when you're walking around in those space plots before they're mowed, when these things are, you know, this crown looks like there's space there, but when this one's branched out, leaning into this one, it's hard to see the difference because they're so crowded together. And you can kind of become mind numb walking through this stuff. I've come out here with Mike and done this before. As a matter of fact, I usually come out and walk through these before they start mowing them, just because I like to see. And so I'm close, so it's easy for me to do. So I come out here and walk through them and look at them, and pretty soon you just feel like they all look the same. So like Mike said, you know, you do it for an hour and then you go leave and take a break, come back and do it again. And they probably do that 4, 5, 6 times throughout the course of the summer before they actually mow these out. And again, we mow them so that the ones you don't want won't give any offsprings to the ones you do want, because they're all open pollination. So a tall fescue is going to accept pollination from any other tall fescue plant. So if you leave these here, you don't know what you're going to get there. But when you have that one pollinating and this one pollinating, you know you're going to get the characteristics of both these plants together. And no one variety is made up of one plant. This nursery would make a variety. Or in this case, maybe one guy bought all these parents, and we may have 4 or 5 nurseries here that will make up one variety. So 100,000 plots and you have 200 winners, 150 winners, maybe, something like that out here. So this is a first-year space planting here of tall fescue.
Oh, really? This little one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you can see how dark green all those are.
Yep.
But how few seed heads there are compared to what we were just looking at. So that was spring planted probably this year. I doubt that was fall planted. So anyway, kind of give you an idea of the difference.
Those are really dark green.
Yeah.
So now we are out at a Fireball 2 field. This is going to be the newest cultivar that will be coming out for Blackout. Fireball 2 is the next generation of Fireball. So it's supposed to be darker, have a little bit better leaf texture and things like that. I'll let Troy explain exactly what he thinks the difference is. But this is one of the fields I'm gonna show you right now. So here's a field. And man, I wish you could see the color really good on camera here. The color of this stuff is like, it almost looks blue. It's insane. Like the seed heads look green, but if you look past the seed heads in there, the leaves are actually like a bluish color. It looks awesome. Look at this view. The mountains in the background. Man. Yeah, this color of this stuff is crazy dark. I really hope this shows up on camera how like dark blue this stuff is. It's crazy. What's the difference between the first generation of Fireball and this new generation?
Well, okay, so Fireball 2, if we think Fireball's dark, Fireball 2 has got better color than Fireball. In my opinion, it's a fairly big step in color. I think we improved the plant's density. We've certainly improved disease resistance with Fireball 2. Leaf structure is probably going to be about the same. Just color, leaf density, and disease resistance will be the primary differences. I'm probably one of the only guys that will come out here in the seed industry. Most guys would depend on the grower, and Mike McCarthy does a fantastic job. I'm just a little bit OCD when it comes to this. I'll come out here because we've driven through here and we spotted a few things that don't belong. And I'll come out here, walk this field before we harvest it, just to make sure that, you know, back when we were talking about the space planning, you can almost go numb to what you're looking at and you miss things. So I'll come out here with fresh eyes. I haven't been out here for a month. I have nothing to do but identify the problems, and I'll take out those problems that I seen, and then when we get home, I'll email Mike and say, hey, I seen X, Y, and Z in the field. We need to make sure we get another crew out here and go through this, because we're paying a lot of money for this seed, a lot of money for this seed stock, we call it. It's what I love to do, drive around and look at fields and critique them.
Yeah, and ultimately what that means for you guys is it's a better product. And that's the whole goal with me even coming out here, Troy doing what he does, trying to give you the best product possible. So now we just pulled up to a Hatrick field, and Troy was explaining to me that for some reason, this Hatrick is insanely dark, even compared to the Fireball. I'll let Troy kind of explain what's going on here.
So yeah, this is Hatrick, and this is the darkest field that we have currently. And we're not sure what's going on, but last year it was spinach. And in spinach, we use a lot of micronutrients, magnesiums, irons, etc. And we're guessing that there must have been a lot of leftover fertility here. And this stuff literally looks, black's not the right word, but it is super dark green. We'd like to figure out what's going on here, because if you could get your turf to look like this does, especially since this hasn't had water. This is dry land. It hasn't been irrigated yet, so it's been dry all spring into the summer here, and the color is just amazing.
Yeah, it's really out of this world how dark it is, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell on camera. And like you said, black's not the right word, but it's like a deep, dark forest green.
Oh,
almost.
Yeah. You know, when we were up at McCarthy's, we were talking about that blue-green of that one plant you were looking at. Mm-hmm. But this is not blue. This is green.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Just a deep green.
If we could figure out what fertility was driving this, we'd be on to something. We are pulling a soil sample, by the way, so we'll know what's up.
Cool.
And if we're not sure with the soil sample, we may do tissue samples and see if we can't figure out. The crazy thing is the field is just consistently the same color, top to bottom.
That's what I was noticing too.
It's just...
Those other fields, there'd be a little variety. Some parts would be dark and then it would be lighter over here. But this is just the whole thing, same color. So after we looked at the Hatrick field, Troy brought me to his facilities to show me around a little bit. I met a few people and then I headed back home. I think I'm gonna end up doing this trip yearly, you guys. It's so much fun and I just wanna keep the ball rolling. If you have any questions about the Blackout seed line, leave your comments below. I'll try to get to all of them. I have a lot of cool things happening on this channel, so definitely subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.